In today's express workout, we're going to use the reformer for some different plank variation, starting really low level and working our way up to some advanced level exercises. This is going to be 30 minutes, so you can, if you want to add this, if you're going to work out with me, that's great. But also, too, if you're going to add this to a group class, I really like starting with this or putting it in the center of my workouts. So here's basic. I'm going to actually set a timer in the background so we can kind of keep it moving and grooving. Okay, so there's a little whistle in the background. So that way we kind of keep the timer going. They're set at 30-second intervals. So we're going to start no springs in the well. Then we're going to add some options with the box and then without. So let's get started. Just see this one last thing. Make sure you can see the screen on the timer. All right, let's get started. Go ahead and put your forearms on, and let's hold a 30-second plank, just getting our body prepared for today's class. As I do planks, I'm always going to reinforce the need for shoulder organization, squeezing with your lats, pecs, and abs. So starting with parallel hip distance and forearms on the box. Should be pretty easy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to walk our toes back a couple inches and pull the box in so it's unsupported. And let's hold that for 30. If any of the unsupported variations are too much, please make sure you do them rested. Or if you start and you need to rest, you can go ahead and do that too. So 30 seconds here. Getting some nice work for the core, waking it up. Let's push it back, go to left forearm, and I'm just going to place myself in a side plank on my left forearm. My foot position is flat on my top hip and turned out, and just kind of hook my foot over that. That's my preferred position. If you need a little bit more support, you can always put the foot on there. Let's go ahead and go back to a regular plank, keeping the carriage closed. I would kind of say anytime we do the carriage closed, the forearm plank low level, it's going to be an active rest. When we start getting up to the more advanced moves, we're definitely going to want to give ourselves some rests. So that's where the 30-second interval is going to help us. Let's go ahead and get ready to pivot onto the right. And just hold that there. Make sure the hips don't sag, so really keep it lifted. I had my foot position wrong there. I guess there's a couple options there. Back to plank. Thought something fell off. So we're going to do 30 rested, and then we're going to pull the box out and do 30 again for one more set. Walk our toes back, and then adjust our body. Pull the bed back for 30. And then rest. Let's rest for 30. Let's take that box off. We're going to use it on the, well, probably maybe put it back on, but I want to do a hand plank series next. I'm going to grab a towel. Let me go behind the camera. just because I have a feeling I'm going to need it for my hands. Grab some grippies if you need it. Let's go ahead and just hold a hand plank. We're going to do the same thing where we walk the toes back here in about 10 seconds, and then we'll pull the carriage away. Walk your feet back, carriage underneath you, hold for 30. Rest it against it and hold for 30. And back and hold for 30. Warming up really quick. I'm going to turn the air conditioning down, or up rather, on my rest. Lift out of the shoulders and rest. Use that time to wipe your hands down. I'm going to actually turn my air a little lower. Grab some water if you need it, and then we'll head back into it. All right, so we're going to go to single hand plank. And just hold that there. Make sure the arm is under. Now I am going to stay away from single arm pulled out just because I've got some shoulder degeneration. Let's switch sides. But if you feel willing, you can always do this with the carriage pulled out like that. I'm going to stay away from that, but that's an option. My 50-year-old shoulders don't like it, but my younger students love the challenge, so you can always try it unrested. Go ahead and rest. We're going to do a little bit of stretch for the back because we've got a lot of planking to do. So go ahead and hold an inverted V position. Release any tension on the back. Get that nice stretch. And let's go active. Back and forth for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the stretch. We're going to go back into a side forearm plank. This time, forearm is on the box, so or on the carriage instead of the box. So let's go ahead and get a side plank. If you need to support, you can always put your thigh and just slightly lift off and rest if you need to. All right, so it's up to you. I'm going to take these off. There's a couple foot positions. You can do bottom foot and top foot up, or top foot, bottom foot. lift it. It's up to you. I'm going to do top foot down today. Pelvis is stable. Let's go ahead and switch. Let's go back to a regular forearm plank, rested. We're going to add a little bit of back stretch with it stable, like an inverted V, and then we're going to do it unstable. So let's go ahead and go into an inverted V and back forward and back. Now the goal is to figure out how not to push the bed forward when we do the unstable variation. So hold the plank, pull the bed away, and pull back. Try to keep the bed from moving. Rest, drop to knees, and stretch. All right, so make sure your hands are dry. I'm a sweater, so I'm going to make sure I use my towel a lot. We're going to do the same thing on the hands, starting with a carriage stable and pull back and forth. Then we'll do 30 seconds with it unstable, moved away from the back. If you need grippies, you could always put grippies under your hand. I think I'll be okay. All right, move it away, and let's move back and forth. Keeping the carriage from moving, keeping it a little space between the back of the reformer. And when the buzzer buzzes, let's just hold the plank unstable. Drop into a stretch, rest the carriage and hold that there. Pull hips back, heels down, hold that stretch. All right, let's take a moment to put the box back on before we go to the box on the foot bar. All right, so we're gonna, instead of doing toes on ground, we're gonna do toes on the gray strip. And let's just hold that there. Rest for 30. Stretch. We'll do that one more time. When I'm doing a full 30-minute class that's all planks, I think 30-second intervals. I may throw in a couple 60, but 30 is good so you don't burn out. But actually, we'll try this one at 60, see how we do. Let's hold this one at 60. But I would say generally when you're programming, planking, and you're going to do a long duration variation, keep them at 30. But I think we can push this one for 60. Thirty more. You need to rest. Please go ahead. It's hard to talk when my abs are that tight. And rest. Yeah, that's a lot for 30 or 60. Do whatever feels good in your rest. We're going to do a forearm plank now. Options, toes on the gray strip. So I'm going to get myself set, front foot forward, and I'm going to take the back leg behind it and hold that. Rest for 30. I'm going to grab some water. And we'll do the other side. Get your forearm set. All right, and go. And rest. We'll do that one more time. Get yourself set. And go. Rest for 30. And then do one more the other side. Just stretch, do whatever feels good. I always tell my students if do whatever feels good, and if running out of the room screaming feels good, go ahead too. All right, getting ready for our last set on the forearm. Right side, let's go. If you need a modification and you need to hold the box with a hand, you can always do that. And rest. All right, now let's take the box and put it on the foot bar. If you have this standard reformer, the studio reformer with the foot bar that's angled, it works also. For me, my foot bar goes completely flat. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is do a regular kneeling forearm plank. So just hop on there. And we're gonna move into a little bit of movement in the shoulders. So we're gonna open and close, out and in. If no springs is a bit much for you, you can always put some springs on. Go where you have that support and control, and we'll do a minute of this. We should be fine. Take your time, out and in. 30 more seconds. And rest. Sit back in the hips. Take that load off the back and core and hips for a little bit. And then we'll do that one more time. Let's get ready. Get yourself set and out and in. 1 minute. Last 30. And rest. Now for this next one, let's put a yellow spring on. We're going to do a regular forearm plank. So we're going to get them up off our knees. Get yourself nice and ready. That was sweaty and ready, snetty. And let's go. Just hold a plank for 30. Rest. You're going to do a side plank. And we'll do a kneeling variation of that. Get yourself ready on your right forearm. Knees are stacked and out in a plank. And let's hold that for 30. When the buzzer buzzes, we're going to do some oblique lifts. Lift those obliques. Not a big movement, but very effective. Let's rest for 30. And then we'll do the other side. Kneeling side plank. And then side plank with obliques. All right, getting ready. And let's hold. We'll do this for 30, and then we'll do the obliques. Let's do obliques. And rest. Looks like we've got another minute left. We'll do a plank and then a pike. Plank with a pike. It's a regular forearm plank. You can do it with or without springs. I'm just going to leave the spring on for the last exercise. Let's just hold it out for a regular plank, and then we'll add a pike. Pike it up. Try not to go down too low with your plank. Rest. We have enough time to do that one more time, and then we'll be done. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is great to add in the middle of a class or the beginning of a class. Whether you're going to do the full front and back or just one of the two, it's a good little plank series. All right, let's go. Hold the plank, and we'll add the pike. Pike it up and plank. And rest. That concludes today's plank class. I hope you enjoyed working out with the different little plank variations. Be sure to challenge yourself without springs. And if you found that the yellow spring wasn't supportive enough, go to a blue, find something that works for you. But definitely be aware of rest periods important. Otherwise, you can strain if you do a full 30-minute class. Thanks for joining me.